PoolPeek has been such a useful website for delegators to find somewhere to stake their ADA, especially for the Sunday Swap ISO. Having all the stake pools there in a clear, concise manner with the minimal information that you needed to be able to delegate to one of these pools just made it so much easier. I have Paddy join me on this interview to talk all about his website, why he created it, and his contribution to the Cardano community. He also talks about building on Cardano, another website that he's working on with Cardano with Paul, another Cardano YouTuber, and he talks about the plans for that website, a couple of future improvements, and some really exciting stuff they're doing in general. Now, if you like this type of content, please give me that thumbs up, click subscribe, notification bell, and hear more Cardano related content from me soon. Let's get into this interview.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast.
I have Paddy joining me on this episode, the creator of PoolPeek.com, a website that everyone's probably really familiar with at the moment. I've been sending a lot of traffic to it. Sorry about that, Paddy. But I've been sending a lot of traffic to it for this Sunday Swap ISO thing, and I've got him on the podcast to talk about it and a couple of new things that he's trying to do with the website as well with his Project 7 Catalyst proposal. So Paddy, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks very much for having me on.
All right, so let's find out a little bit more about you first. How did you get into the crypto space and how did you end up in Cardano?
Okay, let me see. So crypto was something I dabbled in 2018, I'd say. I'm a software engineer, so I'd say every software engineer has probably dabbled in a little bit of some.
Yeah.
And I picked up a Bitcoin, Ethereum. Probably should have held them at that prices then, but sold them, moved on. Wasn't overly keen. Thought, it might fade out. Was I wrong? Yeah, I was massively wrong. So then I think in must have been the summer of 2020, I bought a few more bags of Ethereum, Bitcoin, a few other bits and pieces. And I was researching a lot then, I went for the big ones and then started researching. And then I came across Cardano. A lot of people going about the whiteboard. It wasn't the whiteboarding that got me in. I was researching the project plan, the technology, the roadmap, and also the community engagement felt different than most other cryptos. I had thought about mining, I had thought about all these other things, but Cardano was just different. What they were trying to do, what they were trying to break up. Plus also, I was very interested in proof of stake, because it was different, yeah. I know that people are doing it, people have different flavors of it, but Cardano was trying to break the mold of, the proof of work setup. And, I was thinking, well, I could go out and buy 10 GPUs and set up a rig here in the corner, and it'd be an expensive setup. But then I thought, proof of stake's a lot cheaper actually to get involved, and if anybody can be involved and everybody is sort of contributing. So that's where I get started, and I get looking into it, and I bought Cardano summer 2020. I didn't even think about a stake pool or anything like that then. It wasn't even on the radar. I had looked at it, and I was happy enough to be staking and contributing. It felt like I was mining because of the returns are near enough the same. It's well, depending on the scale you want to go and sort of GPU mining, but. Then I thought, okay, let's get looking into this a bit more. More free time in isolations is probably what happened with a lot of people.
Good old COVID.
Yeah. And I looked at it, okay, stake pools. I think I could give that a go. I set one up, did the test nets. Everything seemed to work. Weirdly enough, I thought I was... It was okay. A few bugs at the start, a few things to learn. I think everybody goes through the same things, but there's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of good guys out there that did help me. They all know who they are, and I still speak to a lot of those guys. But eventually, I got the Shamrock pool up and running. Maybe November, around November 2020. And from then on, it's been fine. It's hard work. It's interesting work also. I do enjoy getting my hands dirty with different parts of it. And from then things have just spiraled into Obviously, there's PoolPeek and there's building on Cardano as well. Probably give you a bit of info on that. But both of those sites are really to contribute to the community, I guess.
And that's one of the big things. Like a lot of stake pool operators, they spin up their pools, more so the recent ones, and they don't know how to gain that traction. And the biggest and easiest way is actually to contribute back to the ecosystem through like websites like PoolPeak and building on Cardano. But my story is very similar to yours, like starting out, in that kind of era, 2017, 2018, then disappearing and not coming in for it through the whiteboard video. I honestly haven't watched it yet, so I don't think I could ever talk to Charles unless I watched that video. So I've got to get around to it.
Yeah, it's a good watch. It's a good watch, and I can see why a lot of people get drawn in by it. It's very insightful.
Okay, I'll make sure I remember to put a link down below, and maybe I'll watch it when I put it down below as well. But yeah, I'll get to it.
Good.
Okay, so in terms of your contributions back to the community, one of the websites is PoolPeak, and a lot of people have been using it at the moment. So what was the idea and concept behind this? What were you trying to achieve and contribute back? What was the issue there? Like, did people actually find it hard to find pools back when you started this website? What was the goal of it?
Yeah, so it was me. There was another pool operator, and he's retired now. But there was a pool called Train. And he originally started the first version of PoolPeak, and it was quite basic. But the idea was to display all of the Cardano stake pools in a non-ranking order, so that people could make a choice without us influencing them via some form of ranking. In my mind, I believe all stake pools are able to get the same return if they're trusted enough and are being run correctly, obviously. So that's really where the idea came from. Okay, let's start showing pools. Okay, let's see what we can get from that. And it did get a decent enough audience for maybe the past year. Up until I'd say a couple of months ago, it was around 300 to 500 visits per day. I guess it's quite small if you want a comparison to maybe the Data pools or Pool Tool. A lot of those guys were well advanced, even when we were starting. But they had the ranking system, which I sort of didn't agree with. And it's the whole idea is just to give people the pool information that I think they need easily, in a nice visual manner, but not also influencing them by return on stake, and a lot of those things are misleading. And the best thing to describe it, if a pool's lucky now at the minute, it's likely going to become unlucky. But, people see that, oh, this pool is lucky, so I'm going to put all my ADA in there, when actually it's going to become unlucky soon. So the opposite is true. So we didn't even want to go down that road. So now at the minute, there's pool searchings, everything's all unranked. There's a little map in there, and then it's sort of veering into the pool offering area is sort of becoming the most popular. It seems to be the trend at the minute. Everybody wants these extra tokens from all of these projects. And when I started with those, I think, I'd say December, maybe a little bit earlier, that's when things really started to take off. It's at least 500 to 1,000 hits per day. The highest it's been, which I think is because of Sunday. Obviously, everybody's wanting it. Last week, there was 7,500 visits on the 20th, with 90% of them to the Sunday Swap ISO page. So
I'm really not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
And every day it's been over 3,000 for the whole of January. There's a serious amount of people wanting information on it, wanting to know which pools, and you can see that by the popularity. But the pool average has been recently the most popular sort of area, and I can see that being the same. I've had projects messaging me about wanting to list, and I've sort of not wanted to, but I don't know. I'll think about it. The idea is, I want to support the community pools and not really the project pools, because they're quite popular already. And there's a lot of pools who who are involved, like Husky NU, Sundays. All those pools are community pools, and they're the ones that I want to sort of help people get, the promotion for. The likes of Meld and etc., who are doing their own project-based pool offerings. I still have the verdict's still out on whether or not I'll display them. Maybe when the current pool offerings die down a bit, I might put them in so people can obviously get that. I've had multiple requests to display all of the pool offerings, every single one that's out there. But at the minute, I probably won't. Plus, also the effort of maintaining the lists and adding in the changes. There's a bit of work that goes into it. So I'll see how it goes. At the minute, it's quite popular for the ones that are already there.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot of work. Like every week, there's another ISO or ISPO happening. So if you weren't making the income on this website to actually maintain and work through that, I don't know how you would. Like I don't see any ads on it or anything like that. So there's no like visual cues to like call to actions or anything. So you're not selling anything on there. So it's a very clean website. And I do like the way that you're displaying the data. For a novice, for a new person that's coming into the ecosystem, they just want to go, okay, that's the general information. That looks really great. They're all this other data about the costs, the return on stake and all that. It's very confusing for a very new person. Yeah. And I haven't even gone down that path and explaining it to a lot of the new pool delegates recently. It's just so much. I will get there so they have a better understanding, but I like the clean website. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I decided not to do advertising because I hate when websites are slow, when there's adverts all over the place. And that's just my own personal preference. Plus, the advertising, you need to have maybe tens of thousands per day to generate of any sort of decent income from website advertising. So it's not worth it in my mind. Maybe one day, if it's really, really popular, I could stick one banner on there that doesn't slow the whole thing down. But I'll probably stay away from it for a long time. Yeah,
it's the various Google site metrics that everyone's going for to get that Google page speed as fast as possible. It's a fun tinkering thing that I do. I don't know why I do it. It's like a pastime thing. I spend like hours and hours on end trying to get the server response time down to almost like nothing and page load under a second. Yeah. I waste way too much time in it.
Yeah, that's been fun recently with the load. And that's part of the whole sort of the funding stuff, but we can come on to that, is to be able to support the loads, and things have really changed. But we'll go on to that in a minute.
Yeah. I did like you did have a semi-ranking system on the Sunday Swap page, though. You listed the pools in a certain order. You want to talk about what your thoughts were behind that and what you were thinking?
Yes. Two things that I added was to single and multi-pools. So trying to promote the growth of single pools over multi-pools, I think, is important for the sort of the whole stake pool community. A lot of small pools have done really well out of it. A lot of them are at 100%. A lot of them are close to it. And there's a few new ones that came in recently. And they're growing quite quickly. And I can see sort of which people would come to them first. And I've noticed there is a few multi-pools that their stake has slowly crept up. And I'm hoping that is because people see the first couple on the list and go, okay, that's fine. That's the ones I need. So that ranking I did add in, and that's the main reason behind it. It's mainly in an idea to help that little bit with the decentralization and try and reduce it that little bit. I'm not against the multi-pool guys. A lot of them do a lot of great work, bring in a lot of audience. But I don't think they needed me. And a lot of them can sort of survive without me promoting their pools at the top of the list. And I know that for sure. The other one is then on margin, or as I named it, filled, as a few guys were asking me, what's margin? So it's the fill percentage, where show the ones which has the most space at the top. It's as simple as that, because they're filling up quickly. I think the other day before the new pools were added, all of the single pools were full. Some of them were at 78 million. So it was. I think they needed to add a few more because everybody was getting to the list and just maybe going for the first ones, even though they were filled. And trying to explain to people not to go for ones that are filled, even go to the multi-pool section, because it will affect everybody's ADA rewards. So, but luckily there's new ones. So that was the two rankings, obviously, the single pools and then the fill percentage.
Cool. Awesome. I did like that aspect. It really made that decentralization of the stake really obvious. So people just went to the top. That one looks good. Doesn't look full. Cool. All right. I'll delegate to that one.
And it wasn't ahead of anybody's sort of multi-pooling stuff, because I don't want to start an argument on that, because that's talked about.
I'm totally cool with multi-poolers. It's the massive multi-poolers out there that might have 50 pools. It's a really big ones, like an exchange, for example. But we've seen a lot of actual really good positive effects from this ISO. I've seen so many people move their ADA, their stake, out of an exchange for the very first time, create brand new wallets and go, what the hell is this staking thing? I don't get it. Is it locking contracts and all that? So that was one huge positive that has come out of all of this.
Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely. You can see the wallets increasing and the total stake, even through that massive dip that we had recently within the general crypto market. The stake has stayed pretty consistent. And I know people will have sold and it will have went down, but there's still ADA coming in. And I've had a few guys recently who I've been getting emails every day about Sunday Swap and which ones they've been recommending and which ones are the list should they be going for. And I'm like, just pick any one. They're all great, just as long as it's not full, And they've been telling me that they've been staking on, had their ADA on exchanges and never staking before. So it's definitely working. That's the definite positive for this whole ISO that something has been doing. And then in the short term, it's affecting loads of pools. But I think in the long term, with more people off exchanges, it's better for Cardano. And I think the stake will spread again once the ISO is finished. There's a lot of people who are loyal to pools that they were originally with. So I'm hoping that they do go back to a lot of the small pools again.
I think they will as well. That's the main message I'm going to give to a lot of our own delegates. It's like once you're done here, you're happy. Like maybe you want to split your wallets or something, and there you can still support your original pool and other ones that you might want. So it's a really cool thing. So in terms of the amount of traffic that you're getting now, I am so sorry. A lot of my videos have been bombarding your servers. Hopefully that hosting bill of yours isn't too high, but what are you doing to try and fund the project? What's coming next up for it, and what's happening in your Fund 7 proposal?
Yeah, so to give you some context, whenever I started PoolPeek and started the background processing of pools so that we had the data to display, there was around 400, 500 pools that I had to process.
Wow. Okay.
So it was small, and it took maybe 10 minutes for me to collect all the data of all the pools out of DB-Sync. It was fine. I could near enough be real time and have everybody's data consistently up to date. Now with the 3,000 plus, with one of the highest available VPSs that I could find, it's still around a half an hour now between, so I need to do a few things. I can get bigger servers and more servers. That's the idea, to bring that back down to a level of which it's in and around 10 minutes is fine. I have set a few priorities to keep the ISO pages updating quicker. So because that's where everybody's going and they want to see. So, but to go through the full list, it's still around half an hour. So to go forward, and also the traffic, January alone, so far, there's been 30,000 people come onto the site to check out things, whether it's pools, whether it's offerings, so that traffic has, and it's an upward trend in the traffic. People are wanting to research pools, they wanted to look at the pool offerings. So in terms of our sort of funding, I thought, okay, I don't make anything from this site. I'm not really looking to make anything, but I enjoy doing it. So we asked for, I think it's around $29,500 to scale our servers and get better servers and to basically to continue the growth of the project. It's come to a point where, I have to pay out a decent amount of money every month that I sort of use Shamrock Pool rewards from to cover that. I sort of justify it in my head paying for it, that I'm getting it in the Shamrock Pool, but then it's just starting to grow and grow, and to get back to what I want, the sort of the refresh times, it's going to cost a bit more. So our project catalyst is obviously to help with that, and then to continue adding what I believe is functionality that we still need to add in the future. So there's been a few things that I work with a lot of pools, and they have so many ideas that they want me to add. And to do them, obviously, is time for myself, but also knowing that I'm going to be able to technically be able to support it. There's no point in me doing all these things if it doesn't run or it runs really, really slowly. And that's my reward from it, is being able to support the community. It's not the financial gain in any way, shape, or form. So it's, if I don't have the infrastructure, I can't add anything. And it's already at a point where I've migrated servers multiple times to keep up with the growth and demand. And I think 3,000 pools is probably, next year it could be 6,000. I don't, based on the rate of growth, I would expect something like that to be the case. Then I'll be an hour or 2 hours processing all the data for it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right, that's absolutely crazy. Is there anyone else working on this project with you? So I'm assuming there might be some other people that are in on the proposal as well.
Yeah, so we have a few things. So we have Eagle, who has done most of our mobile apps. So we do have a PoolPeek variant on Android and iOS that he built, and has plans to do some nice upgrades into it. Then we have Brave, who helps more out in the community and marketing and getting things out there and discussing with people, and obviously testing, reviewing the site. And then obviously there's myself, who does most of the development on our API layers and the PoolPeek website. So there's three of us, and we've made a success of it, which I thought for a while, this isn't going to go anywhere, but we continued on anyways, and it seems to be gaining traction, which I like.
Which is awesome. Yeah, it's good for you guys because it helps promote your pools as well, and also support the community, which is key. In terms of deliverables for this project, what's with that 29,000 or so that you're asking for? What are you going to deliver, and when you're going to deliver things by?
Yeah. So my main objective, first of all, is the server that we have. So we're using VPS for our sort of pool processing. Well, we have a few VPS, but our main one that we want to migrate to a bare metal server to cement longevity, and to then being able to scale it in the future by just simply upgrading hardware components, is to build a bare metal sort of processing server. I'll likely have it here with my other pool bare metals, so that then it'll, first of all, the pricing long term is negated. It's gone. It'll be there. It'll last a couple of years. I'll be comfortable, and with I can build it up so that the server will last 3-5 years or whatever it's going to be needed. So that's the main thing, is to remove that cost, and also to cement us for the future. That was our first thing. The next then is to work with Eagle, and obviously to put funds towards him to improve our mobile development. I'm not a mobile developer. I don't have those experiences. I could probably pick it up, but it would be a lot slower than what he could do it. So funds will go towards that sort of process. And the two applications that are there, a lot of effort's gone into them, and it's a lot of effort will need to go into upgrading them and adding new things to the apps. So there's that, and funds will be allocated to that. And once you start thinking about that, it's like, okay, then what else can we use our funds for? And the main things will be to pay for our remaining VPS, to stand up also new ones for our supporting the growth, and load balancing our website. So obviously everything runs off one sort of API layer at the minute, which it's sort of, response times aren't too bad, but I have noticed over the busy periods, it's been getting a bit slow. And and the VPSs that we've been using, they're okay, but they haven't been great. And I've noticed 3, 4, 5 seconds for pages to load, which people when someone sees it 3 seconds or feels it slow, generally means it is slow. And I have noticed it, and that's when the traffic has been going crazy. And I expect more of that in the future, and it's to be ready for that. And and I would say with all these people who have came in from Sunday, they now know the site. They now will revisit it. So I do expect a growth in the future. And then obviously to the rest of our funds, which we will use to support us in the work and effort that we put into it. I don't know how many hours I've put into it myself. About 1.5 years worth is about the time frame. But it's not about paying me an hourly rate or anything like that. It's simply about adding and continuing, and to make sure that I feel comfortable adding and contributing to it.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's our current plan, anyways.
It's a lot of hours that you put into the site, so a little bit of a compensation at least to pay for the servers to scale up and future plan it is definitely a good thing. What type of delivery time is this all in? Like scaling up servers is usually fairly easy.
Yeah, I would expect 3 months at most to get most of this working. We want to do a review of our designs as well. The look and feel is not too bad. But I was hoping to bring in a UX guy to give me. I'm not a professional user experience guy. I've built a lot of websites, but they're the ones who design. So I want to bring in a guy who can basically tell me where to put everything in the best user experience that people generally have. I sort of winged it up until this point and thinking based off what I sort of know and what I like. Is it the best? Maybe not, but that will maybe take a little bit longer, maybe 6 months to get someone in, get them engaged, get them understanding. So I'd say that and then mobile will probably be about I'd say 3 to 6 months. You would start to see updates to it, but the to be completed would be about 6 months. So timeframes, it's not very long for everything, but it should make a massive impact to the overall site. Once these things are complete.
Fantastic. Yeah, reducing those load times is always important. And having that mobile experience as well is really key. I know a lot of users only have Yoroi or CCVault as their wallet on their mobile device. So having extra tools around it can actually help them quite a bit. So it's really key for the ecosystem.
One of our main things on the mobile apps is the EaglePool has created a sort of pool selection wizard, which is kind of like a form process, which has loads of different categories of questions to ask delegates rather than, here's a list of 3,000, you decide yourself. It's very much, do you want this sort of fee? Well, a fee is this, and this is what a margin is, and this is what a fee is, and this is the size, and this is some of the charity or non-charity or mission driven, and these are the builders, and loads of questions. And we have plans to add even more. And that seems to be so popular with people because then it directs them to near enough what they want. Yeah. And we want to add a version of it. And there is a version which points to the mobile variant on the main site, but we want to make one overall general pool form process where you step through maybe between 5 and 10 screens, and it'll give you a list of pools that sort of meet that criteria at the end. And it sort of feeds into us not just giving a ranking of some sort. It's basically the delegate goes through the process and finds the pools they want. It's not, I don't feel as if there's anything out there that's similar. And we really want to add to that. So that's one of our big goals as well.
That's a really cool feature. I like that. As it kind of also educates users about what stake pools do as well. Like a lot of people don't know that there's mission-driven pools, what the missions are or anything like that, whether they are creating content or donating to charities, whatever it might be. Educating new users is really key around that, so they can delegate to a pool that aligns with their values as well. That's really, really cool.
Cheers. Let's hope we can get it as good as possible. That's also the builder pools. Sometimes the builder pools get ignored, but might add an option for that.
The builder pools are probably the most ignored ones. The ones, all you guys that have been around since the ITN days and have worked your asses off getting the process of setting up a stake pool and operating stake pools, or even building tools in the ecosystem. You guys get so ignored.
We're not important, Pete. We're not important.
Yeah. Oh yeah. you know you are, and it's up to other people in the ecosystem to promote you and actually make that clear and highlight you all. So yeah, keep building. People will know. But on those lines, you guys also work on building on Cardano. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I may as well give that one out there. And that's quite popular, actually. We haven't had to do much with that. So myself and Paul, I know a lot of you guys would know Cardano with Paul. We started building on Cardano last June, I think. We got together and we got a project sent to list. We built the website. We worked with a lot of projects to see what they wanted, needed to display. As we had seen variants of this within the Ethereum ecosystem, where you can go anywhere and look for all the different projects that they have, and there wasn't any. And so we put together building on Cardano. It has a vast majority of all the available projects that are currently building. There's a few that aren't on there. But we don't maintain the projects or add the projects. The projects do that all themselves. All of the content, they add that themselves. They register. They put the project in for approval. The approval process is quite simple. It's basically we verify the creator of the project is actually the person who should be creating that project, not some random guy who's maybe pretending to be the owner of the project, which we were worried about scams and stuff all spinning off from it.
Oh, yeah.
Invalid websites and fake with links all getting put in. But that's mainly our only process that we have in place there. And we give projects a place to list so that they're all categorized. People can go in and view them. Here's all the wallets. Here's all the DeFi apps. Here's all the tooling applications, infrastructure. You name it. There's maybe about 30 categories of all the different types of projects. And it's been going great, and it gets a great audience. You get around 500 to 1,000 users per day on it. And I said, just people researching, people looking to find out information. And we've sort of fed in the same with Paul. And I said to him, I'm not looking to generate revenue from this. There's no advertising, no paid promotions. It's very much a learning tool, so that people coming in are probably wondering, what projects even is there in Cardano?
Is anyone really building on Cardano? That myth.
So we get all these listings. And they're all there, and the vast majority. And it's great. There's a few other websites doing the same, but the whole idea is to spread the knowledge. And we have noticed that people are engaged with that site too. And the more people know about it, the more we use it, and I would say the projects will update it more. And that one has me quite busy at the minute, actually. You could say that I was working on PoolPeek the past 2 months, getting a lot of things in there. Now I'm back to building on Cardano, thinking about, not to give too much away, but how can we add in processes that people get feedback on projects, whether it's maybe rating systems, controversial, a lot of things to plan out. But the thing is there's a lot of people who do review, who say a lot of things about projects. And projects, get slandered for different reasons. There are a lot of things going on. Some of them are important. Some of them are just bots and, just trying to put down projects. And we're not trying to provide a platform for that to be the case, but we would like to give people a way of giving feedback or rating a project. So Sunday mightn't have done great over the past couple of days with all the drama that's going on.
A little bit of drama.
But in the long term, it wouldn't be that. it's not going to be like, your holiday rating system, but there will be something. And we're trying to plan out how to reduce bots, reduce invalid. You have to give a really, really good feedback on a project for us to consider the rating. It can't just be, here's 1 star, submit, because then it becomes really dangerous.
Yeah, you're opening the floodgates to people that were really upset about something and say, hey, everyone should do a rating here and slander the project as much as possible. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
So that's what I'm currently working on, and that's what I'm working on today. So it's probably going to be a good couple of weeks for that before we even have anything that we think will be safe enough to release, because ratings is dangerous. And then we don't want to annoy projects. Building on Cardano has put out something that I've got a tarot rating. What is going on? We're hoping, and I've still discussed with Paul what are we going to do, find the final outcome of that. How we're going to get the find ADAOZ, but let's see how it goes. I think there isn't anything out there yet. So I think something will come. Someone will eventually do something of rating applications, and we're trying to just get it out to give it to the community as well. Hopefully then they can be heard. Sometimes a lot of people aren't. Yes.
And then they start contacting other YouTubers and whatnot to try and get their voice heard and talk about various projects. That's okay. Right. So it sounds like you are really busy, and I love that you're contributing all these things back to the ecosystem. And I'll make sure I'll put all the links down below to all these projects, your Project 7 proposal as well, and fund Project Catalyst. I'll make sure that's all down there, and people should consider giving it a vote to try and support this tool, especially if you've used it in the last few months. I know a lot of people have, so it would be great to actually see a lot of support around this one to keep it going as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, thanks, Pete. Appreciate it.
All right. And where can people find out more about your stake pool as well, in case they want to support you that way?
Yeah, Shamrock Pool has, I'll give you the link as well. You can put that in. Yeah, Shamrock Pool is still not too bad. Sunday's taking all my delegates, but I'd say a few of them will come back.
It'll be temporary.
Not small just yet. I managed to get lucky with the Cardano Foundation delegation recently, so that should keep me going for a good number of months without having to worry about anything, which was a great acknowledgement of the sort of scene that I do contribute and add value. That it was a good acknowledgement, and I thank them for it too.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, the Cardano Foundation owns a lot of large wallets. I think it's about 40 or so wallets with 15 million ADA, just under 15 million.
Yeah.
And every 3 months they do a rotation of different stake pools that they delegate to. And the previous round they did delegations to people and projects that were building on Cardano, building the builders themselves, to acknowledge builders just like you.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Good. It was, yeah. Good lot of guys got acknowledged, and it was great, and it helps support them, and then they can, like myself, maybe I'm not as great at the marketing area. I do get delegates in, and it has been growing, but it's if I'm coding all day, it's hard to to do marketing at the same time. So it's finding time in between everything that's going on is the challenge. So that really helps. So yeah,
I don't think people would mind if you had on PoolPeak. You've got your logo right at the very bottom. You've got a little picture of yourself. It's just a picture of yourself, and you can't even tell that you're a stake pool operator. It's just you're like, t-shirt, yeah, Shamrock Pool, great. I don't think people would mind if you had your own banner on your own site to say, hey, you like this site, support me, please.
Yeah. I'll have a thought. I could maybe increase the size by a few pixels. We'll see how we can
There you go. All right, cool. Do that. Paddy, it's been awesome having you on the podcast, talking about the project, talking about yourself and your stake pool as well. So fingers crossed you get a lot of decent votes in your Fund 7 proposal as well. And I'll speak to you soon.
All right, Pete. Cheers. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
If you haven't checked out PoolPeek.com, check it out. Links are in the show notes down below. Make it easy for you there. Just scroll and click. just like to thank Paddy again for his time for this interview. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it out in time for that Project 7 fund voting, but fingers crossed you did find it and you voted for the proposal anyway. Now, if you do like this type of content, please consider giving me that thumbs up, click subscribe, notification bell, and you'll hear more from me real soon.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.